Welcome to the Sleevey G Show. I'm your host with the most. My name is Gomez, and tonight I do have a special guest. He is a lead singer of a band. He runs a podcast, What's Your Band podcast, and he's also probably one of the funniest stand-up comedians that I know, or probably the only one I do know,
Yeah.
Sean Morton. Sean, what is going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
Nothing much.
Beautiful night. Beautiful night. It's a beautiful night.
Yeah.
It's the Who's Your Band podcast.
Oh, who's your band?
You Mo.
Well, I am a Mo. Well, you know what do
yeah.
you expect? I'm Hispanic, dude.
You're like the least Hispanic Puerto Rican that I know.
I'm actually Cuban B.
Same shit. You just got a job. It's the only difference.
Exactly. Sorry again, I messed up. So it's Who's Your Band podcast.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm allowed once in a while. We do go live on these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But dude, it's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, it has, man. It has. It's been I think things are getting back to normal a little bit as far as going out and shows and concerts and things like that. The only thing that's bad for me now is that since things are back together, I'm getting very shitty podcast guests.
like as you're coming on my show tonight.
Nah, listen, you're my buddy. I don't care.
I know.
I know it was so weird. Like the one good thing, like we had we were in this beautiful studio in Secaucus. I mean, this is like a multi-million-dollar studio when we first started the podcast. Yeah, we started in January of 2020.
Okay.
So beautiful studio. And then, obviously we got shut down. We tried the Zoom thing and it was working. And then like it exploded.
Yeah.
Like we only had like maybe 8 or 10 episodes in before we went into quarantine. And then we were getting some stupid guests I should never have gotten. I mean, being such a young podcast, I had guys from Kiss and Volbeat, awesome. Danzig, Typo Negative, Mr. Big. I had Matt Pinfield. It was just like, it was so dumb. It was so dumb, the guests that I was getting. Like, they were just saying, yeah, no problem. I got nothing to do.
And I've noticed it is getting a little harder. I mean, I just had News 12 Christina Bear, Emmy Award-winning Christina Bear on the show not too long ago. And I was thankful. She said, yeah, I'd love to come on. And it was her very first podcast. For me, so for me, it was like a true honor though, because that was like my first local celebrity guest in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So for me, I got very excited. And actually, I got a couple of them coming on soon, actually, with me on the show. I got a lot of things cooking the next month because once April, now that with April coming around the corner, my shows are going to take a little step back because work is going to get busy.
Sure.
And then, I'm not going to have as much time, but right now it's anybody who wants to come on my show. It's all about the fun, man. We had you on Playlist Wars twice.
Mm-hmm.
And we had fun there, a lot of fun, especially picking on Brian a little bit.
Well, that's one of my few things in life that I have true sheer pleasure in doing all the time. Like, because what it is, like, he loves to he laughs, but there's a little part of him that's like, this motherfucker, every time he's on my fucking show, he's gonna make fun of me.
You know what's funny? He doesn't even know you're coming on tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Cool. But it's a surprise. See.
Nice. He's great. I know him so long. I mean, not as long as you, but like when I take a step back and realize I know him probably 25 years too.
Yeah, you're about 30. We know about each other, I think, for almost 20 now. Mm-hmm. And Brian, I know about 30. And dude, I remember when Brian took me to see your band once, because Brian's like, oh, let's check him out. I know him. I'm like, all right, no problem. And you guys rocked it. And I remember that's where I met Rick for the first time too.
Mm-hmm.
And and I used to hang out with Rick on top of that, going to Tequila Joe's every Friday. I know.
God, I just got a migraine just thinking about going there again.
Oh, Tequila Joe's, man.
That was the best, man. That was people don't realize what an amazing place that was if you never went there.
Oh my God.
You can't describe it. Like, they'll be like, well, what was it like? I'm like, all right, so you walk in, and then to the right is an 80s room, and to the left is a karaoke
room. And then
you can go upstairs and have the club, or you can go downstairs where it's pitch black and listen to the rock and metal room, and there's a little couches where you can bang chicks.
Yeah, it was, and that was like and I love the bathroom stalls because it was all bathroom sinks with ice, and you're pissing in ice.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was one of those greatest things, man. I mean, it reminds me. I remember the first time Rick took me to Tequila Joe's. Matter of fact, I think it was Brian V. Rob, and somebody else and me went to Tequila Joe's. I think we met up with you, Rick, and somebody else, because I'll never forget it. I was just getting over being sick. And the funniest thing was, V Rob goes, one of the guys said, "Oh my God, is that a guy with a large dildo?" I go, "Yeah, that's a strap on." And yep, there's but he's pouring alcohol in girls' mouths. God bless him.
That's Prop Joe. That's my buddy.
Dude, that was some funny times there, though. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
I mean, my God, I think, didn't it say that Tequila Joe's was a church converted into
church now? Yeah, it's called Temple Rock.
Oh, good Lord. Only if they knew, Temple Rock, they might want to change that name, man.
They smoke a lot of it. They smoke a lot of it in Tequila Joe's too.
Dude, if you think about it, like we go there, you could drive past it, you're like, God, I remember when this place used to be Tequila Joe's, and now
I just drove past it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like, the amount of DNA that was dropped inside of those four walls, and now it's a church.
God, I remember
quite hysterical.
Yeah, I remember jumping from the Rock. Then V-Rob singing. Was he singing like a virgin? Yeah, it's either like it was like a virgin, or the Vinyls. I Touch Myself.
Oh God.
And dude, he had all the girls screaming for him.
Really?
It was an interesting show, I'll tell you. V-Rob, when he hits those notes, he hits them good. God bless you, V-Rob. But Sean, we're here actually to talk about you, buddy.
Yeah, this is talk about me. I love talking about myself.
So you got the stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Okay, which I've seen some of your shows on YouTube. I have not been the pleasure of going to see.
Are you serious? I'm only doing it 15 years. I guess you couldn't find the date.
Well,
anyway,
when the Bananas heard I was Hispanic, they kicked me out. They thought I was going to eat the bananas. You know what I mean? Come on. No comment.
No, I'm letting that ugly fart just linger for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Ugh. Hair on Brian too much.
Yeah, well, 30 years of partnership there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally.
Not that way, guys. But I definitely, now that things are opening up, I feel like if I go, I know you'll like, oh, there's my buddy Gomez. Yeah,
I'll never talk about you on stage.
I wouldn't care.
My friends come to a show, I never make fun of them. I did one joke on Saturday night. My friend was there, and I had to use a friend's name. So like, I figured it would and it wasn't even a bad joke.
Oh God.
I just do like, I talk about my dog, how much I'm in love with my dog. And, if you had to give me the option of like, and so I said, my friend Mike is here. If I had to do something really terribly physically harmful to Mike, or give my dog the slightest paper cut, I had to choose one of them, I would murder Mike in front of his whole family, children, his grandchildren. Like, I didn't give a shit. So like, I did, but like, I normally never, ever make fun of my friends.
I wouldn't care, because I think it would be hilarious, because every time I've gone, it was always me getting picked on anyway. I'm used to it.
It's different because like when you start, it's just like any kind of entertainment, and like, you've gone through it with Brian and his bands and even podcasts and stuff. When you start out, you rely on your friends.
Oh yeah.
You totally rely on your friends to come out. Like, and they do, bringer shows in comedy, which I haven't done in 14 years. And then they do a lot of pay to play for bands. Like, a band's got to bring 20 people or else you're not playing. So in the very early ons, you depend on your friends a lot, but like later on now, so when my friends come to a show, it's a treat.
Right.
Now it's a treat because like, I want to just have fun with them, and I don't want to and then like, now you think about it too, it's like, it's 15 years later, we're all a lot older. So if you're giving me your time, I'm not going to make it miserable for you. I'm going to make sure that you're going to go home and have a great time.
Well, that's the thing now. Like you said, unfortunately, COVID did hit us all hard. You know what I mean? I don't know. Did you guys get COVID? You or your wife at that point? Twice. Well, all right. So my wife, my 2 kids, and me had got COVID at least once, even after the shots. Go figure that one out.
Yeah, me too.
And I gotta say, luckily, thank God for Playlist Wars during that time. I hurt myself. I tore my MCL, and Brian and I came up with this idea of Playlist Wars, and I thank God for that. You know what I mean? That was
a fun show.
It was a great show, and it kind of sucked that both of our schedules are very off right now, because his kids are older, my kids are still younger. Yeah. So for me, it's difficult to start earlier, and then for him, it's difficult to start later. So I just told Brian, I think after Isabella's 6th birthday, I just said, dude, I got to do something. I'm bored at home, and I had a little bit of a delay. I got sick in November with COVID. I was horribly, my voice. I didn't have a voice. And, my wife gave me an option. I remember this conversation. We were on date night when the kids were away. When my in-laws take my kids out, me and her, we go out. We eat dinner, have coffee, and we're back home sleeping by like 9:30. So you can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that.
So, my wife Laura goes to me, he's like, well, you have a choice. You want to go play pool or do you want to keep podcasting? And I'm like, ooh, I actually asked, could I have both?
But podcasting, you don't have to leave the house.
Yeah, that was your thing. So I really had to sit down and think about it, because playing pool, I haven't drank in a long time. Like once in a blue moon, I'll have a beer or whiskey, you know what I mean? Once in a while. But when I'm at pool and I'm shooting, I'm LITs, Jack and Coke, shots. Sure. And I'm like, shit. When I was living in Rutherford, I was playing at Castle Billiards. I was literally 5 blocks away.
I remember that place.
Oh, yeah. Still there. Yeah. A lot of my friends still play there. I'm like, well, I'm not 5 blocks anymore. Yeah. I'm a few miles away, and I have kids.
Oh yeah, dude. This is why I was so thankful that band practice, which I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. But we got canceled tonight. Because I'm an hour away. I'm driving an hour, so
yeah,
you work all day, and then it's like, all right, we gotta make this commitment to do it. But my guitar player, my best buddy, is also a state trooper. So I had this premonition that he was going to call and say, hey, I'm gonna have overtime tonight. And 5 minutes later, I got the text, hey, I can't make it tonight. I got a 8-hour overtime shift, $1,000. I can't miss it. I'm like, yeah.
I don't blame him.
I can go home. And I have no problem with that.
Thanks for keeping the streets safe for us tonight, hopefully.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. Like I had that itch. So one podcast invited me back on the show using my old laptop. I'm like, yeah, I kind of miss it. And that's where I got the itch back.
It's a different dynamic, it's I mean, you're not a comedian, so like every comic in the world has a freaking podcast. You know what I mean? Right. So it's you could throw a freaking stone and hit a comic, and you can do the same thing for a guy who has a podcast. But it's a different outlet. It's fun.
It is, and that's why I like what I'm doing now, because it's more chill. It's not like it's not like Playlist Wars where we're talking serious and we're laughing. And don't get me wrong, I miss it though. I miss Playlist Wars dramatically. Like I learned so much from the music side of it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people were like, holy Christ, the movie and video game side, and how much I brought to that, because that was my niche.
Yeah.
You know what definitely. I mean? So for me, that worked out very well. Like Brian's an encyclopedia like you when it comes to music. You too, when we were all together, it's like, holy Christ, you guys know way too much more than me. And I have to keep looking.
Well, it's just our passions, like my two passions in life, and since I was a kid, was music and stand-up comedy.
See, for me, it was always entertainment, like the entertainment business. I love hearing about it, talking about it, and everything. And that's where I think my show comes in more like an entertainment show. You know what I mean? And you can laugh. There's some funny stuff I have out already after. It's going to be 6 episodes. I have an episode being released. Well, I'll be releasing this later, but this one's in a week. The week prior for History of the World.
Oh, the Mel Brooks movie?
Mel Brooks movie, but
I've never seen the original.
The original is unbelievably funny.
Never seen it.
You have to see it. Gregory Hines, Mel Brooks. There's so many all-star casts on that. You know what I mean? It's so cool. And that's what I love about what I do now too. Like, like with Brian's got his music, I got my entertainment. So what do? I support local businesses in New Jersey. Or if
great thing.
Even if you're out of state, I'm still going to support it. You know what I mean? Hey,
I agree 100%. 100%.
It doesn't have to stay local in New Jersey, but this is where I'm starting. I already had one local business. I'm going to have a couple more coming on. And, and as a local comedian and local band, which is good, I got 2 birds and 1 stone with you tonight.
Yeah, right.
So, but I know you say you want to talk about the band. What's going on with COP now?
So, I mean, if people don't know, so I'll tell you the quick story is that, started a band, probably what, I don't know, 97, I think, 96, 97. And that was just my love. I never thought I was ever going to do comedy ever.
Mhm.
It was never a plan. It was never ever a plan. The band was everything. We weren't great. We weren't horrible, and we stayed best friends for a very, very long time. Then I got that itch, like, I needed to do something creative, just like you said too. Like you were getting bored, you had to do something. And I said, by my 32nd birthday, I'm going to do something creative. It was, I
Mhm.
think it was 8 or 9 days after, and that's the first night I ever did comedy.
Right.
And after that, it was it. That was done. But I've always still, talked with my guys in the band, stuff like that. For my 40th birthday, or no, my 30th birthday, sorry. God, I'm fucking old. Um, they threw a surprise party, and Jay handed me a card, and I opened it. It was a set list with 4 songs.
Okay.
So it was 4 of our old songs. I was like, all right, I think I remember the words. Of course I remember the words. And then we did that. And then like one other show, like 7 years later, we got together and put the show together. But like it's been a long time because I'm busy with comedy,
Yeah.
and that's like my priority with that. So we tried a couple times a few years ago, and I'll never forget this. I'm actually wearing a shirt.
I was going to
We
say,
were covering a Clutch song, and I was trying to emulate his voice a little too much.
ooh.
And my normal singing voice is a little higher, so I was dropping down a little bit. And the next day, I just woke up and I was like, "Oh, you wake up, you stretch," and I coughed, and it was just blood everywhere.
Oh,
I just ripped my throat completely apart. I
wow.
said, "Guys, that's it. I can't. I can't right now. I make a good amount of money doing comedy, and I need my voice."
Right.
So now it's like we decided to try and do this again, and take things a little differently. And it's a lot better this
Okay.
time around. It's fun. We got some new music already written and
Oh,
like ready to
nice.
go. Yeah, yeah. That was the thing. I wanted to do all new stuff.
Okay.
It's very easy to put an old CD of your stuff in and just relearn the parts that you wrote. And the kicker for me was, like, I was playing one of the old songs, and one of the lines was 23 feel twice my age. And I'm like, I am twice the age.
Now you are.
I am. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel fucking 90. So I can't sing this song anymore. Like, I just can't. I'm not going to change the words. I'm
Right.
just not going to do it. So we wrote some new stuff, and
Cool.
it's coming along really good. But it's a different thing, man. Again, it's a different outlet. Comedy, I can go up there and make fun of anything and everybody and
Right.
talk about personal stuff and whatever. But then there's, some of the lyrics that I'm writing, it's not going to resonate on stage with a comedy thing. It's
Mm.
completely different. So it's fun. It's fun. And when you have a band, those are your boys, those are your brothers, and there's nobody who verbally berate me as much as those 3 guys will.
Right.
No comedians will bust each other's balls and stuff, but these guys will literally eviscerate you, and I do the same thing to them too. So it's a different kind of working relationship, having to deal with people too. With stand up, you work by yourself.
I mean, the only closest thing I came close to a band was Brian's old band, The Fourth,
I remember.
where I was kind of roadieing them a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember that.
Helping them set up. That was the closest thing I became to a member of a band.
No, you were
And
just carrying shit.
I was just carrying their stuff, but you know what? I was getting half price drinks because they said I was with the band.
That's
So,
true too.
so for me, it was, you know what? Hey, I'm getting half price drinks. I'm part of the band.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't blame you, dude.
and they're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm the roadie." And the people look at me, they're like, "What?" I mean, I with Brian's old band, The Fourth, I'll tell you, with Jason, Dave, and Patsy, and Brian, I mean, I got to see some really great shows, and I got to be behind stage. And for me, was wild was when they opened for Zach Wild at Asbury Park. And I'll tell you, that was an honor for me to even be behind the stage with those guys, because I was like you get the pass. I'm like, huh?
That day, I I'll never forget this day. My mom was like, "Oh, there's a country band that she loved called the Statler Brothers."
Okay.
And they didn't play around very often because, like, that was over 20 years ago too. It's figure 25 years ago.
Yeah.
They were old then. Like, half of them are dead now. So she goes, "Where are they playing?" They're playing in Binghamton, New York. I'm like, "Oh shit! All right, it's like 2.5 hours away."
Yeah, that's a hike too.
So I'm like, all right, you know what, mom, get the tickets. I'll take you up there. And this is like before I'm, have a girlfriend at the time, whatever. And so yeah, she buys the tickets, and then Brian, I guess, called me or emailed me or whatever. Yeah, I'm selling tickets. I'm opening for BLS at the Stone Pony. I'm like,
Yeah.
you motherfucker. All right, so now it's like I'm looking at these things, these tickets for the Statler Brothers, and it's like a 5 o'clock start.
Right.
I'm like,
Can I pull it off?
can I pull this off? And show is over at 7, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I left at 6:50. I said, I want you outside at 7 o'clock. And she jumped right back in the car. I was back in Bayonne at like 9:15, and I was at the Pony by like 10:20.
I actually remembered that because you flew
I
in.
fucking flew. I never forgot. I drove so goddamn fast. It was
And
unbelievable.
and I'll tell you, for me, being backstage with the guys, I remember at one point Jason with the suntan lotion he couldn't see, and he threw a stick at me, like a broken stick, not like on purpose, but to get him a towel. And I got to run on stage, when the band was playing. And for me, it was like, yes, that was the closest thing I ever got onto stage with a band. So for me, helping out those guys it was like the greatest time of my life too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was a fun time, it was definitely a fun time. People don't understand too, like I talked about this in an interview on my podcast. I had a guy from Hades, and he was in Stepping Out magazine, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, like, that period from like 97 to like 2001, 2002 was not only a great underrated era for music, but in the North Jersey like bar scene for bands and stuff, you can go every single night of the week to a different bar and see a great cover band
I'll say
or
that.
an original band too.
Yeah. I mean, I turned 21 in 2001. I was 19, 2000, 2002. I turned 21 officially.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before that, when Brian was still in his heavy set, we pulled off that I was his twin brother. So they're like, oh, well, we don't need to ID him then if he's your twin brother. So I used to go into bars with Brian, carrying the bass for him, even at that time, because it helped me out to get in the bar.
Well, he was chunky then too.
Yeah. We're pretty much almost identical with the goatee. The haircut was different. Mine was shorter. His was a little bit longer, but we were able to get away with that. Didn't have to check my ID. I'm like, oh, my brother's got the ID. But, oh, okay, no problem. That's your twin. I go, yes, he is.
That's funny.
And I would get in. I'm 20 years old, 19 years old. I'm at the bar grabbing a couple of buds here, and that was the greatest time because, again, you're right. The music at that time was just unbelievable. And for me to go to those bar scenes, even when, even those days, even going to the karaoke bars, even though I sucked, even I sucked at karaoke, I was just having a blast because people are drunk, having fun. They don't care how good you are. Even though I felt like every time I went to karaoke, I'm always behind Brian. You know what I mean? Like, he would go up first and then I'm next. I'm like, son of a gun, can I ever get away from this guy? But people knew who we were, especially the night we got thrown out of Rick's bar in Grown Clifton.
Okay.
We got thrown out of that bar. You ever heard about that story?
No.
So we went there for karaoke on a Saturday night, and we knew the people. And at that time, Brian's girlfriend, who was Katie, wasn't drinking. There was a couple people who weren't drinking at the tables. They actually kicked us out because they weren't drinking.
Okay.
So we left the restaurant/bar. We didn't pay the tab. We just said, fuck you. We left.
I don't blame you.
And then we're all gone. I'm like, we all stop at somewhere. I forget where we went after that. I'm like, by any chance, anybody pick up the tab? They're like, nope, good. And we left them a $300 bar tab.
We did something on the flip side of that. Me and my friend Joe went to Bazookas in Secaucus.
Oh yeah, I remember that place.
That was one of my favorite places. And I took a girl I was dating and her friend there. And it was like one of those nights, I think it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, where it's like 10-cent wings and like dollar slices, whatever. So like we order like tons of food and stuff like that. And mind you, I get the bill, and the bill's like $40 for like 4 people. with tip, and the girls are just throwing like 220s a piece.
It's
So then I'm like,
like
I'm like, all right, I'll take care of this, do this. I'm gonna give you a 10 back. I'm gonna give you a 5. Joe, you take a 10, you did this, boom. I'm like, all right, we're all cool. And then the girls leave, and Joe goes, did we pay? I go, no, man, we made $10 a piece on this deal.
that is the greatest thing
Fucking
ever.
ate, we ate like pigs, and we wound up walking out of there with money too.
With $10 in your pocket, how that you can't go wrong with that at all.
Yeah, that was a complete shell game. That's
Oh
all
my
that
god,
was.
that was a shell game. I remember well, you remember what was that, the bar in Paramus, was it the Attic?
The junkyard.
The junkyard, that's right, the junkyard. I couldn't remember. All I remember was always upstairs.
Yep.
So me and this is when Brian, was working overnight, so he never really went out during the weekdays. So I had a bunch of my friends, a little bit younger friends, because I had my older friends, I had my 21 and over friends, and I had my older friends 25 and over. So we went to go see Lightspeed one night.
I remember them.
So, and they were a great cover band. Actually, one of the guys were from Rutherford, so we kind of knew them, and we always say what's up and how you doing and all that stuff. So we got to know them really well. And I remember, I said, I go, buddy, to the bartender, I'm like, you said it's $1 beer right now? Like, yeah, bottle beer is $1. So me and two other friends pulled out 20s. I go, 20 Miller Lights? He goes, what do you need? I go, 20 Miller Lights? 20 Miller Lights. And after that, they shut that thing down quickly because we went through 3 cases within 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, we used to there was a place my friend Tom took me to. It was in Kenilworth. It was called Apples, and it was $1.25 any size mug as long as it had a handle. So like people are bringing in like their mugs, and like 12, 16s, and 20s. Well, I found an iced tea pitcher.
Oh no!
That had a handle on the side of it, so I unscrewed the cap off.
I would have brought this.
Yeah, I drink a gallon a day. No, seriously.
I know, I believe you because I do.
So I unscrew the cap and I put it down. It's a 64 ounce, and guy looks at me like this. I go, I'm only going to drink like 5 or 6 of these, so just
fill it up.
Fill it up. I drank 2, and I think I got nauseous, and then I was trying to I almost got pulled over.
Oh no!
And, yeah, I outran the cops. That's how when you're dumb and you're young.
Yeah,
like you outrun the cops. Like I dipped into side streets and shit in Union. It was fucking stupid. But
oh my god, I remember. Well, Brian's been in a few bands, and I've been through all of them. Like Brian's the 4th. Then Brian did All at Random. That was his fun punk days. I
like that band. I remember seeing them at the Orange Lantern.
Yes, the Orange Lantern. Yeah, and there was this place in Perth Amboy or South Amboy. I can't remember. All I remember was in the Amboys.
South Amboy Chrome.
Was that the word where the guy was like the hippie owner?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was out of every time. Welcome All at Random. I'm like, dude, this guy's awesome. And it was like, a complete dive. That place was always packed with people.
Oh, yeah.
And then, oh, no, go ahead, Sean.
No, I remember one time, I've told this story. I don't think I've told it on my show, but I've told my friends all know the story. It was one of those nights in Hoboken. So you got to figure 1997, 98. My friend Mark, I love the kid. We were both having like a bad day. Yeah. So we're both like, I think he broke up with somebody and I broke up with somebody. I forgot what it was. And then, so we're pounding and like we're parked right out in front. Now we're staggering out. We're like, oh shit, one of us has to drive. Who's the least fucked up? So I go, it's definitely me. It's definitely me. So he had this old like Nissan pickup truck that had the fixed bench seat. Like there's no back seat at all.
Nothing.
It was just front. And you couldn't move it forward or back. It was fixed. And I was a lot bigger. I was about 110 pounds heavier than. So I could not get behind the wheel.
Right.
And I went, what the fuck are we going to do? I go, Mark, here's what we're going to do. And he's like this. He's passing out. Right. He's like literally passing out. So I'm like, you're going to work the pedals. And I'm going to work the wheel. So you're going to listen to me when if I say brake very slow, it means slow. If I yell brake, break it. You know what I mean?
Just jam it.
From Hoboken to Bayonne is about a 12-minute drive. It took 47 minutes to get home.
Shit.
Because we couldn't go past like 15, 20 miles an hour. I'm working the wheel from the passenger seat. He's literally passing out, zoning out because you're so drunk. It was
I remember.
Stupid things you do as a child, believe me.
Yeah, I remember one of Brian's shows. I don't remember if it was when he was with used guys or was it with the fourth, but I remember one night he was playing at the Loop Lounge? No, not the Loop Lounge in Passaic. Was it the Loop Lounge? Yeah, the Loop Lounge in Passaic or in Clifton.
Yep.
And I remember everyone was out that night. And I'm like, you know what? Red Bull just came out and all that. So I was just like, you know what? Someone told me to try Red Bull and vodka. So I said, you know what? Let me get a Red Bull and vodka. Like, all right, cool. Boom. Pound like 8 of them. I'm like, I feel great. Like, I'm full of energy. And I'm like, let's go. What are we doing next?
You basically drank cocaine.
Oh, I didn't know that at that time. You know what I mean? This is brand spanking new at this time. So all I remember, there was a CVS where I parked the car. So all I remember is this: drunk. All I remember is getting in the car, and I'm trying to put the keys in the ignition, and I'm missing. I'm like bad. I'm like, oh, I think I drank too much. Like completely, I sober walking to the car. As soon as my ass sat on the seat, all I remember was like, oh God. I actually almost crawled to CVS, bought 2 Gatorades, a bottle of water, and a pack of cigarettes.
Marlboro Lights, I'm sure.
No, I think I was smoking Newports at that point.
Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't go. I did Marlboro Lights for a while, but I think at that point I was still like switching over between.
I smoked 8 Marlboro Reds at one point in my hand at
Ew.
one time for $100 bet.
Okay, I would have done
And
the
I had
same
to
thing.
smoke the whole thing, and then I puked so hard.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh, it was just disgusting.
But
Absolutely
I
disgusting.
sat there, and I think one of the people, one of the people that were in the show goes, "Gomez, are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, just." As I'm pounding freaking Gatorade, and you see like half of the pack of cigarettes outside because I'm smoking. I'm like a fiend. I'm flicking them on the ground. It looks like I'm doing a stakeout, like I'm a cop, and I'm like, wow, never again. Until this day, I still haven't had a Red Bull vodka after that.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't drink after you have that experience. I could drink tequila in a margarita,
but you can't
all day long, like all day long. But if you put like even a really really good tequila on the rocks, I can't even fathom it.
I was about to say, yeah,
Ugh.
I could drink tequila straight up, no problem. But it was Brian's. It's kind of funny as we're it's coming to be the Brian show because all our stories end up with him somehow. When he was
common denominator,
yeah, he was in Used Guys, and I remember I think it was the final show for them, and it was the yellow shirt night at Texas, Arizona, and Hoboken. Oh, God. Yeah, well, let me tell you, we packed that place. 2 reasons: their last night together, and it was my birthday. I packed that place up.
Yeah,
with friends and people who love the band. And and this is where Joe was going to Reservoir Dogs. So he kind of I'll never forget during one of the songs, he put the jacket and the glasses and the hat on, like, this is where I'm going next, guys. And and it was classy, hey, I would have done the same thing. But all I remember is telling the bartender, I go, here's $100 bill. He goes, what's this for? I go, first of all, I need 2 beers and a shot. The rest is yours, my man, as a tip. He goes, why? I go, because every time I come to the bar, remember this face.
Yep. That's a great thing to do.
It is. And it's the smartest thing to do because people are like, why is he getting the service? And, and the bartender goes, he tipped me.
Did you ever go to Down the Hatch in New York City?
No, I never had an opportunity.
Great place. It's still open. Go during football season. I know you're a Giants fan.
Yeah.
We can go early, and then what you do is it was $20. I'm sure even it's $30.
Yeah.
It was 4 pitchers of beer and all the wings you could eat.
Oh, dude.
So they start you with like an order of 10 wings, and then you have to go up to this little booth and you order your wings. Same exact thing. You will wait 45 minutes for an order of wings, which take
but they're worth it.
7 to make. No, unless you tip the guy. You tip the guy. You just walk up. You just do this. Fucking honey mustards are right in front of you. Like they're just waiting for you.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. You're down like 40 wings, 3 pitchers of beer. You puke outside on Bleecker Street. You drive home fucking blurry. And it's a beautiful day.
Oh, that is, dude. Well, I know we talked a lot now, but the thing is, like, when you got into comedy, it's been what now, 14, 15 years.
It'll be 15 in August.
50, wow, 15 years, dude. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
what
I blinked and it happened.
and you're actually very successful because I see you're posting up. I know you got a show coming up soon. I just saw your post. Like, what was your first initial thought when you did your first live act? How was that?
It was scary because it was I drove past the Bayonne Arts Factory, which was a huge place, and I saw a thing that said stand-up comedy competition. I wrote the number down, and then I called a guy, and he's like, "Oh, do you have 5 minutes?" I go, "Yeah, of course I got 5 minutes. I didn't have shit, you know." And that was on a Wednesday, and the thing was on a Friday.
Wow. So it's like 2 days away.
2 days away. I just sat down and I picked two topics, and I wrote 2.5 minutes on one and 2.5 on another. And again, I put the feelers out. I was like, look, I'm going to be here at this place. It was 250 people at my very first show. It was 20 comics, and I came in second place.
That's
so I was
awesome.
like, wow, this is something I really like. And there was a guy in the crowd who at the time I thought was like a real big deal. Now he's just a complete piece of shit. Like he's one of those guys who like worked at the Laugh Factory for like 2 months.
Okay.
As a booker when it used to be in Times Square. And he must have just had boxes of like 2,000 cards with his name and the friggin' Laugh Factory on it, which is a huge club in California.
Yeah.
So he books me, goes, I got a great show coming up in Sea Caucus. I'm going to book you on that. I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. And like, I'm telling everybody, I already got a show booked. And like, this whole place is jammed. And then I get to the place in Sea Caucus, and it's a bar, and there's 3 people there.
Oy.
So I was like, oh, all right.
Okay.
All right. This is how it works. But no, I've done a lot, man. And I've gotten things that technically I shouldn't have gotten as early. And I'm not trying to knock myself, but like there's some people who will do 20 years of comedy before, or 10 years of comedy before they go on the road and host. Right. I was hosting on the road in 6 months.
And that's awesome. Like, how was that too?
I took a different turn. Like I took a different path. There's no two comics paths are the same, I'll never forget, you have to do these bringer shows where you have to guarantee 10 people come to a show, and then you get like, 7 minutes or whatever. I'll never forget. She was just this washed out, ugly, just disgusting pig. That's all I can describe her. And she pulled me aside and she goes, you were told you had to bring 10 people to this show, and you brought 9. And I shouldn't even put you on the stage. And she was like berating me before I went on stage.
Oh God.
And I was young. Like I was only, a couple months in.
Right.
And I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing it again.
Right.
And that was it. I never did it again. I took a lot of chances. Stupidly, I'll never. I think it was very early on. I was only 4 months in. Jim Norton was doing a book signing in Ridgewood at Bookends.
Yeah, I know the place is very famous for a lot of famous people in there.
Yeah, so he was doing a signing, and I emailed him and said, "Hey, why don't you let an up and coming comic do 5 minutes before your book signing?" Never heard back. So I am down by my house, and I pull into the gym, and my phone rings, and I was like, all right, I don't want to answer, but it's my best friend. He goes, are you on the way? I'm like, on the way for what? Come on, dude. What are you on the way? I don't know. I'm going to come. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? And he goes, O&A, they mentioned you on the air. I'm like,
oh, dude.
Like, what are you talking about? He goes, Jimmy said he's doing a book signing tonight, and there's an up and coming comic who's going to do a few minutes of stand up beforehand. I'm like, please don't tell me you're fucking with me, because I'm literally an hour away. Like, I have to get right in my car now, and I'll barely make it. He goes, get the fuck here. I'm like, all right. So I fly up there, and I meet one of the guys from the show. His name was Club Soda Kenny. And he was like Dice's right-hand man for a very, very long time. And he worked with Jim. So I go, Kenny, my name is Sean. I'm the comic. And he goes, do your act. I'm like, so I tell him the jokes. And he goes, don't let Mr. Norton be disappointed. I'm like, oh, fuck. Right.
Oh, damn.
So now I get there, and then Norton says, we got the comic, gives me the name, whatever. They don't even have a microphone. It's like a desk mic. So like, here's my Yeti, right? So imagine if like it was a lot smaller, but a wider base. So I'm holding it like this the whole time. And I didn't have fucking 5 minutes at that time. I
Right.
didn't even have it. And a couple jokes went well, and then one just died. And if you ever listen to Opie and Anthony, they were very known for their sound
Antics.
bites and
Oh
their
yeah.
antics. So they gave me the car crash. And I was like,
Oh,
motherfucker. And then the whole place laughed, whatever. So I see Norton on the way out, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you thinking you could do stand-up before a book signing? He goes, what is wrong? I said, I'm just starting, dude. I said, wouldn't you have done it if Carlin was doing a book signing and you had just started and you had balls? He goes, no, I'm not a fucking moron. And then he goes, give me a book. And he signed the book.
he signed it. That's awesome.
And he gave it to. But yeah, I took chances. I took some chances. And then like things fell into place, and certain things did. Like I was working with I don't like want to mention his name. He's a dick, but he's a very popular Italian comic. And I would
Well,
work
there's about two of them that I know off the top of
yeah,
my head.
yeah. So I worked with him for a while, and then I did a big gig with him. It was like a resorts casino in Jamaica. It was like 1,500 people.
Oh,
I was
nice.
probably only like maybe 5 years in. And I met his manager, and I said, listen, there's going to be a time where I want a manager, and I want you to be him. And he was like, I got my hands full. I appreciate blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, he sends me an email. You serious about that? And I said, yeah, I'm dead serious. So I signed a contract. And very early, I should not have ever have a manager at 5 years in comedy. It's stupid. And I look back, and it did nothing except it gave me a good 200-300 person fan base
Right.
just from working with him. So but I did some great gigs with them and stuff like that. And then I had this like epiphany, and I was like, you know what, when my contract's over, I'm not going to resign. And it was because I wasn't getting a lot of work. And even if I got my own gigs, he was like, I still want my percentage, even if you
Right.
booked them. I'm like, shut the fuck up, I'm not paying you shit. And he goes, well, then it's a voided contract. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like, so you're telling me if I take a $20 bar spot, I gotta send you a check for $2? Yep. I went, motherfucker. So I'm
Dude,
like,
that's rough.
yeah, it's bad. So I said to myself, you know what? It was July 4th. It was at my buddy's house. Um, and I said, you know what? I made a decision. I'm not going to re-sign with him. And I said, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to write out my contract. I'm going to just do whatever we need to do. And that's it. It was only like in January. The next day, the fucking next day, I get an email, and the title is my resignation. And I went, okay. And I'm reading this, and he says, I signed too many people too quick, and I thought I can grow this a lot faster, and I can't, and I'm not giving you guys the right representation. So he had 13 clients, and he dropped 8 that day.
Holy, and let me guess, you were one of 8.
I was one of 8.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, no problem. This is not going until January. I'm officially free. I could do whatever I want. The next day was when my wife found the lump in her breast. So it was just like, this whole thing. Like, my theory was, when I look back on it, was it had to happen that way, only because I would have taken gigs just because he would have been getting them, and I wouldn't turn them down.
Right.
And I didn't know if that was going to interfere with, like, chemo treatments or just being home and stuff like that. So I was able to make my own schedule, and I wound up getting 10 times more work than I did
with him.
And like, there were certain things that I wanted. I said I wanted to work the Borgata. I said,
And you did, actually.
Yeah, they were all working it. And he was like, I'm going to try. Sabotaged my audition. He sabotaged my audition. He told the person that there was no room at the show because we're sold out. And this guy was like the king of Long Island comedy.
Right.
Like, okay, we're sold out, no problem. So the minute that he resigned, I emailed that guy, and I was like, and he was a former client too, but he left. And then he says, I said, hey, just want to let you know I'm no longer represented by so-and-so. If I can get that audition again to get the Borgata, I would really greatly appreciate that. And I got the email back, and he was like, no need to audition. You were fantastic. Give me some dates. Sent him dates that was available. I did 2 weeks there. And then, again, I was like 7 years into comedy. I should not have been doing it.
Now let me ask you
Should
this
not have been
question:
doing. Yeah,
when you went to the Borgata and did you were there for like the weekend, right? You were doing
no, whole
weekend
week.
shows
No,
the whole
whole week.
week.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, they did you stay there for the week with the Borgata
Sure,
or
they put you up in a room. You get you get the employee card. So basically, there's a gigantic, huge cafeteria downstairs. So if you go to a Borgata buffet, they make
Mhm.
everything downstairs.
Right?
So everything that you have upstairs at the Borgata buffet is downstairs.
Oh,
So
sweet.
so it's amazing. So you can go. I'll tell you a funny story too. We yeah, you go anytime of the night. It's 24 hours because it's a 24-hour operation.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
a thing you slide, dude. You can have 20-ounce ribeyes with like ice cream and then a piece of fried chicken and a piece of corn. Like you can have whatever you want. It's so ridiculous, right?
It's like a fat guy's dream.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But they take care of you very well. They take care
Good.
of you very well. They paid, they paid very well too, which is also, the bonus,
Hmm.
But yes, I did the Borgata for 2 weeks. I had one time I was there Thanksgiving week, and so I had gotten shit because I booked Thanksgiving week. It's like,
Yeah,
Italian mother, Italian wife, and you tell them that you're not going to go for like the fucking Super Bowl of cooking. You know what I mean?
exactly. You're in deep shit.
So it was Wednesday night, and I had just finished my show, and I was going to get some sleep and then just drive up in the morning, have the whole dinner, and then drive back for the show. So it's Wednesday night, and I'm done, and I see this guy out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, I know this fucking guy, and I walk up to him, I'm like, what's going on, man? It was Lil Jon,
Oh, no way.
because he was DJing at the club in the
Oh,
Borgata.
oh, dude.
So I was like, I know who you are. He goes, who the fuck are you? And I told him I'm the comic, whatever. And he's like, word, yeah. So we're eating stuff like that. And he's like, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I said, I'm going home. Oh, that's cool, man. I got to fly and shit, blah blah blah. And I was like, can I come home with you?
No way.
And I said, nah, man, I can't do that. I'm sorry. He goes, why not, man? Why not? And I go, they don't let black people in Bayonne, man. And he goes, that's fucked up. And that's funny as shit. And he had this guy come up. He goes, get this motherfucker a drink. And he has this big bag, and he opens up the bag and pulls out a bottle of Cristal out of
Holy
this
shit.
stupid bag and 2 red Solo cups. So now as I'm walking, when you go down to the cafeteria, it's a
Right.
maze. If you don't know where you're going, you're fucked.
You're
You're
lost.
fucked. So we're walking, and now we're drinking Cristal out of red Solo cups, walking through, and he's like, all right, brother, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, I'll see you too. We shake the hands like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
Just yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. I
I
liked
mean,
the Borgata. Hard Rock was fun too, though. I
I
love
bet. I was just say Hard Rock is a nice hotel too.
yeah.
Borgata's got a special place for me at my heart. That and Harrow's just because I always win there whenever
Oh
I
yeah.
go. So,
I always said my favorite shows were at the Hard Rock, but the food was better at the Borgata.
oh yeah, the Borgata food is really good. I will say
Yeah.
that.
No, that was
Uh,
cool. I was actually and again, something I shouldn't have gotten, but it's I live by a motto in comedy and in life. You just gotta be a good person
yeah.
and know the right people and know good people. And I'm one of those people, if you it's an old saying, I forgot what it was. If there's 5 people smiling, you're the 6th person smiling. If there's
Mhm.
5 people crying, you're the 6th person crying. So I always believe to surround myself with good people
Mhm.
in comedy, because there's a lot of
It's not even
garbage people.
it's not even just in comedy, Sean. Like for me, like we know each other for 20 years now, and you're very good people. You're always good to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you always ask how everything's going. And I know when your wife, unfortunately, had the cancer going on, I always ask, hey, how's
Yep,
she doing? Is she okay?
100%.
Do you ever need anything? And then when you guys used to do that Facebook show, which
Yeah.
I miss, those were some great times right there. I always laughed and I always made sure I checked in because that's how I know she was doing good too.
That was fun, man. It was a thing called Wedlocked, and
Yep.
it was I wasn't reinventing anything. It was
No.
basically the honeymooners. That's all it was. It
Oh
was
yeah.
the big, loud, boisterous man, and then the woman's gonna come in and say the last word, and she's
Yeah.
gonna make the guy feel like shit and make him look like an asshole. And that's just how I just wrote everything. I wrote, I would have scripts written, and she would memorize them and memorize them. Like, so she's not an actor, she's not a
No.
comedian where she's so I mean I can do a table read and read it right there, you know. So I would get her to the point where she would be like just getting it and doing it good. I'm like, no, I got to do another take. And she'd be like, what the fuck was wrong with that one? And I'm like, just do it again. And then the next one was always the one we did.
Yeah.
I would get her worked up.
She was awesome. I missed those shows, man, with Locke.
It was, well, I'll tell you what it was, man. And this is no joke. You know, people were like, oh, your wife is funnier than you. Blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I don't give a shit if any people think my wife is funny. I mean, she's fucking hysterical.
Oh, she is.
Her
Both of you
and
guys
my
are.
best friend Jay, my guitar player, are the two funniest people on the planet. And I've worked with 1,000 comics. Nobody makes me laugh more than them two. So, and I wrote it so that way she looked like the star. I was not the star of that show, and that's just the way that I wanted it to be presented. And I was getting like hate mail. Like, people were like, I remember one dude specifically from Kentucky was like, if my wife ever talked to me like that, I would punch her in the mouth and she'd have no teeth. And I had to reply back, you know, this is scripted and it's a comedy show. It don't make a difference. A man is a man is a man. I went, okay. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I was just like, I gotta stop this shit.
You know, it's funny. Like, you know how it is when you're starting out. Like for me, you know, it's been an adventure so far. You know, if you think about it, I just started this a few weeks ago, and you know, here I am, episode 6 or episode 7. I'm sorry, with you, and it's an honor. You know what I mean? Like I said, this was a one to see if you were busy, and you were like, hell yeah, I'll do it for you. And for me, it's like, you know, something that it's bringing in my buddy, but it also showing how it is to do the comedian side, because you know people love the music.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's who you know and how you could set up people. You know what I mean? Like you could say, hey, I got somebody for you. You should check out, you know, check out my boy Gomez, you know, and his show.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll have you on.
You got to build each other up. And that's what people don't understand, especially in comedy too, is it's a cutthroat business.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of people that we have worked with from the very, very beginning who are now monsters in comedy and entertainment. You know what I mean?
I can only imagine.
You know, we started out with Pete Davidson. Like, Pete was 16 years old and his mom was driving him to gigs, or other comics friends that I know were driving him because he didn't have a license.
And look at him now.
And now he's a monster. I can remember, I told this story the other day. I can remember being in the city at this place called the Village Lantern at the time. And there was a kid and he was just like, oh, I'm done, man. I can't do his comedy anymore, man. It's killing my self-esteem. It's ruining my life, blah, blah, blah. And his name is Chris DiStefano. Now, Chris is one of the biggest comics in the world right now.
Right. I was about to say that.
I can remember him in the basement of a club with 12 people.
Right.
And like, I just saw him post something the other day. He was like, I forgot where he was. Maybe it was Seattle or something. And he was like, I was here 3 years ago and I had 6 shows and none of them sold. And they had to send staff home and I felt horrible. And now it's 3 years later and I'm playing a 7,000 seat theater and sold out.
Now I got to ask you this question. How was it from going from, like, now, for instance, like a bar, not a bar, but a stage of 300, but then you go to the Borgata and it's like 7,000 people.
Same show.
Yeah.
Same show. You gotta give them the same show. You don't give them the light show. You don't give them you gotta have to do certain things differently. You know, like they don't want you to be really dirty at the casinos because it's an older crowd.
Yeah.
And some of the people that I've worked with don't listen and they walk 30, 40 people. You know, they just don't. You have to be very specific. So it's not hard. You just got to get into a different mindset.
Okay. So I don't, like, for me, like I said, the biggest stage for me I ever been on was at my high school play, and that was 50 people. You know,
hey, listen, whether it's 50 or if it's 5, it's still putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I've had instances where I can go with bullshit for an hour and a half. I don't give a shit.
Right.
But I got asked by what the hell was it? USA Today to do this storyteller series.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, it's a couple years ago at the Asbury Hotel in Asbury Park. And it was so weird because I have so many jokes written, so many different sets, and I can intermingle and pull things from one and do whatever you need. I had it all written out, and it was about how, I think the story was how music influenced my life and how I became a comic. Basically, the story I'm telling you tonight.
Yeah.
I had it all typed out. And when I got there, I go, "Where's the podium?" And they go, "Oh, there's no podium. This has to be memorized." And I went,
Oh,
fuck. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I can go on stage at the Apollo and I will start talking. They may not like me, but I ain't going to fear them at all. You
right.
know, that's the difference. But I was shit scared up there because I had to throw away my notes and I had to just freestyle like this,
Right.
and but tell a story while I'm doing it too. It was nerve wracking. That was nerve wracking, and my co-host on the podcast, Jeff, before we became the podcast, I guess it had to be about 10 years ago, says to me, "You're a big wrestling guy, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I like wrestling. What's up? Got a gig for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." It was ring announcing for an independent wrestling show in Bayonne. It was across the street from my house.
Oh wow, you
I'm
can't go
like,
wrong.
I'm in, right?
Yeah.
So I get there, and it's some like bigger names that are like older and shit like that. And then I saw the ropes, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna fall through. I'm gonna fall through the ropes." And that was my biggest fear the whole
Yeah.
night, was falling through the ropes. So I was going super slow trying to get in. The last fucking match, my toe clipped the middle rope.
Oh
And
no.
I put my arm back, and as I put my arm back, my arm hits the top rope, and my watch explodes all over the ring. I don't know how I did it. Brand new watch. It just explodes all over the ring, and all you hear from the crowd is, "You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up." I was like, "God damn it!"
I'd have
But
been like, yes, thank you, thank you. That would have been
oh,
me.
so bad, man. Like, yeah, look, we still bomb. I bomb all the time. I don't give a shit. I prefer the bomb now over a really good show.
Well, like for me, like, when Christina Bear came on my show, first of all, she's an Emmy Award anchor and news reporter.
Mhm.
So before we talked on the show, we were just BSing for a couple minutes. And she's like, I felt like I know you through Instagram because I followed her for quite some time. And I said, first of all, I just want to tell you, I'm a huge fan because I am. And, I've seen you from WPIX News and what you're doing. And for me, what came so real is on NewJersey.com is where she's working right now
Okay.
with Cara DeFalco, who used to be with News 12.
And I interviewed her.
And she's coming on my show.
Is she?
Yeah. We're going to be
Okay.
talking about her Cara's
Cooking.
Cucina. Yeah, her cooking, her Emmy nominated show on YouTube.
Yeah, which is, again, I had a guy booking my podcast and he booked her. She
Mhm.
was the sweetest girl.
She's so
Absolutely
awesome.
so awesome for a
And
music podcast. It was,
yeah,
it was just the fit wasn't right, but
yeah,
she was very sweet. She was very
she's
sweet.
really cool. She's like, and what's funny is like, again, I don't have hookups like that, like some people do. You know what I mean? I just went on Instagram and say, "Hey, Kara, my name is Alex. My name is Alex Gomez. I run an indie podcast here in New Jersey. I just had Christina on, and I would like to see if you would like to come on, and actually have the trafficker and weather guy Don Smith coming on."
Okay.
So I got some little flow, but this is the help because of Christina. And on New Jersey, when I post up that show, on NewJersey.com, posted, check out Christina Bear at the Sleevey G show.
That's cool.
I
It's
mean,
always great when they do that,
and for
because you
me,
don't
it was
realize like
huge.
your promotion is still getting off. So like
Yeah,
you're gonna have like you'll get some momentum and stuff like that.
yeah.
But like I know big comics too, like big comics who will call Kevin Hart and say, "I need a favor. My
Mhm.
special's coming out. Can you retweet it?" And he'll like go, "No." Or if he likes, you'll go, "Yeah, no problem. We'll do it."
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, like, if this guy's promoting it, he's going to have a couple 100,000 people
Oh yeah.
potentially. But Kevin Hart does it. You're talking about 80 million people are going
People.
to have access
And
to this.
and one of the funniest guys. Well, I mean, from watching his material, I always laugh.
I love him. I absolutely love him. A lot of people
Oh,
don't like the bigger comics because they feel like they kind of sell out or
but that's the thing.
they're too popular. I don't believe in that.
I don't think so because with Kevin Hart, he keeps it real. He talks about a little bit about everything. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
love some of his stand up, but I also love his movies
Oh
because
yeah, he's great.
he's just a talented person, and to see him do so well for what he's done, you know what I mean? I mean, he's done the movies with The Rock, which some of
Mm-hmm.
them are funny. He's done movies with Ice Cube with Ride Along,
Yep.
1 and 2. You know what I mean? those are movies that you just don't forget because you're like, that will never work. And then you watch the movie. I was dying laughter when he's like pretending to be in the video game and he's driving the Maserati in part two. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, those are the good memories. You know what I mean?
There's a great video if you go on YouTube. One of my favorite comics was Patrice O'Neill. I don't know if you know who he was.
Yes.
Patrice is one of my favorite comics ever. And there's a video, if you go on YouTube, I think it says put Patrice O'Neill Boston Comedy Club. So the Boston Comedy Club is in the city. And then you see Patrice holding court outside. I think it's from 1999. And like you see guys like, you know, Rich Voss and Kurt Metzger and Jim Norton, stuff like that. And then you see little Kevin Hart standing next to Patrice O'Neill. And he was nothing at that point. He was a comic. And he just goes, sandwich is bigger than you, motherfucker. And he was like, get the fuck away from here. Men are talking. And like, he just sulks and walks away. 25 years later, he's top 10 biggest people on the planet. If you think about it, you know,
and that's
not here.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a cool thing. You know, I mean, like I said, it's like I said, you always have that open relationship. And like I said, you know, you're one of the guys I'm like, oh, I had to get him on. You know what I mean? I was just, like I said, in a short notice too. And I couldn't thank you enough because that means
it's nothing, man. This is awesome.
You know, I was so happy you said, yeah, I'll come on. And like I said, you could see how it's just a chill vibe. It's just chill. You know, it's like it's a conversation. It's not many questions. It's having fun.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, you know, with you being local in New Jersey too, you know, people would definitely, I hope people come out and see you and support you too from the show, because that's what I want. Cool. You know what I mean? And that being said, I know we're getting close, man, but you know, I can't thank you enough, Sean, because it means a lot.
Don't have to thank you, man. You're my buddy, and this is what friends do.
I know, but I do.
Friends do on a small level, on a medium level, on a big level. That's what you got to do. You got to get your friends back. That's
and that's why I'm very appreciative, man. Because you know, for me as a, you know, the little guy now, starting little, and I'm talking to the big guy. You know, you guys.
No, listen, I'm look. If you talk about, I'm not even like in the top 50 in New Jersey, let alone a country. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, but for me, you know, it's big because you've done some great places, man. You've been at the Borgata, you've done this, you've done a lot in comedy in almost 15 years.
I'm doing my first special this year, finally.
Are you really?
Yes. I'm doing my first special by hook or by crook. I have all the material, have a producer ready to go. We just got to figure out how we're going to do it. I think the new way that people are doing it, which is very interesting, is on YouTube. They're releasing full specials on YouTube, and I have friends of mine who are blowing up just from that.
Really?
Yeah. So kind of without giving everything away, I think it's going to be an hour. I think it's going to be half an hour, completely clean, squeaky clean in black and white. And then I just stop and go like this, and then the color comes on, and then it's a dirty half hour after that.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for that. I personally would love. I would love to see that, and I can't wait.
It'll be in North Jersey when we tape. I'm not going to tape it in New York because my fan base is really in North Jersey. So I'll probably do it somewhere probably close to where you live, probably
in Morris County.
Yeah, probably around there. It's kind of central for most of my people. So
if you ever need an extra, I'm always here.
Yep.
It's like there he is, the big one. But Sean, as I was saying, definitely thank you, and I appreciate it.
You got
it. But
buddy.
Also, where can the guys find you? Where can everyone find you now?
So I'm 46, so I don't do Twitter. I'm on Facebook with all the other dinosaurs. You just put my name in, Sean Morton. And Instagram, I do things differently. Like I'll post, I tend to post jokes on Facebook, and my thing is if I get 30 likes with a joke, I try it in the act.
Okay.
That's just the way I've done it, and it seems to work for me. So if you want to see my jokes, it's just go on Facebook and put in Sean Morton, and then Sean Morton comic on Instagram. I just put really horrific memes, totally different from Facebook, just really horrible, racist, make fun of, you know, people with like disabilities and, you know, mothers with one leg and shit. I don't give a fuck. It whatever I can find, it's horrific. I'm going to put up there.
Nice. Well, guys, as you can see, my buddy Sean's doing very well. You can see him soon. You got a show coming up. Was it in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, well, depending on when this airs, yeah, it'll be well, this weekend I'm doing Catch a Rising Star. I'm headlining Catch a Rising Star.
Okay.
But no, I got some stuff coming. I'll be back in Tips in Morris Plains. I just booked that again.
All right, cool.
That's always a fun room, a fun room. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming up.
Cool. Well, guys, check him out at Sean Morton Comedy on Facebook. He says he's a dinosaur, but he's not. He's a cool dude, as you can see. and definitely check them out. And I gotta thank you, Sean, again. Thank you to all the sleevers. We'll be definitely posting this show up in about a week and a half from now. And check it out. I've got some big stuff coming out. I already announced some stuff with Sean here. And I got some tricks up these sleeves, which I don't have any. So I gotta see.
Did you call your fans the sleevers?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Thank you again.